Little louder. Good, good. Well, we're now going to talk to you this afternoon about boosting contact center efficiency using Amazon WorkSpaces and Amazon WorkSpaces Thin Client. How many of you run contact center operations? Okay. I see, but I'm blinded by the light, but I see a lot of hands, so great. Thank you, and thank you for coming. I am Melissa Stein. I'm Director of End User Computing. I focus on our secure endpoints, so I run our WorkSpaces secure browser and WorkSpace Thin Client products. I'm joined by Rasika.
Hi, I'm Rasika Vidyakara, Principal Product Management. I focus on WorkSpaces Thin Client.
So let's talk to you about what we're going to talk to you about. So we're going to first talk about some challenges that people experience within the contact center. Then take a look into the future and what could we actually do if we were to rethink the contact center setup. Then we'll go into the benefits of the AWS technologies for the contact center and what would it be without a customer story, and then we'll wrap it up. 5 key challenges. So we have literally talked to hundreds of customers with contact center, and these 5 challenges keep coming up over and over again. How do you make it secure? How do you think about reducing the cost? And you'll find out it's a lot more than the cost of the devices themselves. How do you make sure those agents are productive, especially in a world where there's an IT shortage? And then comes along the need for sustainability. So we'll go into each one of these in detail. Security. Your contact center agents access some of your most valuable data. Right, we're Amazon. Yesterday was Cyber Monday. Pretty sure some very famous people bought stuff on Amazon. Could you imagine if what they bought for gifts leaked out? Or if you're in the healthcare industry, even more important. People's actual health needs and different diagnoses. But yet, your contact center agents have to have this data or they cannot provide good customer service. So what do you end up doing? You give them a laptop. And what does that laptop have? It has local data storage. According to the Aberdeen Group, 35.7% of data loss happens by somebody just sticking in some removable media. But yet you have a laptop with all of those ports. And the fact is the endpoint itself is prone to data breach. So if you think about all the organizations out there, including the 68% of organizations that have experienced 1 or more data breaches that have actually compromised the infrastructure, you gotta kind of think about maybe this laptop might not be the best thing to do. And then you compound that with the fact that you may have some people in office, you may have some hybrid, but you still have a lot working remotely. I talked to a very large company in the healthcare space just last week. Still 98% of contact center agents are remote, and they plan on keeping it that way. That whole notion of that you go into a room, you drop your phone, and you're sitting there side by side, that contact center of old is not what it looks like post-pandemic anymore. And then, of course, not just a laptop, not just sending it home, hey, just bring your own device, right? Oh, healthcare, finance, retail purchase history, yeah, just stick it on your own device. I think there's a lot we can do here to help security. And then that device costs. So assume you're not using the agent's own device and you decide, okay, I'm a regulated industry, I'm gonna go ahead and do a corporate provided laptop. Those laptops can be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you're giving them. But that is just one little bit of the cost. You have to ship them. So once you get that nice bubble package and box it up, and of course you're gonna want it signed, right? This is an expensive device. You're talking easily $80 to have it shipped. And if you're in office, do you even have the storage to do it? I talked to a company in hospitality, they're literally storing it in a hallway. It's like, okay, don't trip over the laptops. Other companies have realized they don't have space, and now they're paying for a third party to store their laptops, right? Big warehousing. And then you got to maintain them. So let's say you've gone to the notion of auto provisioning or zero touch provisioning, but if not, you may be imaging, provisioning them, all the effort to maintain and support them. And if you happen to be running virtual desktop infrastructure, you may actually be spending a lot to maintain that on-site data center for something that's actually on the desktop. And then the software costs, right? Remember that whole security thing I just talked about? Are you paying for VPNs? Do you have to have extra endpoint detection and response software? Are you paying for higher end licenses than you might need? All of this adds up. So you could easily be paying 2 to 4 times the cost of the laptop when you add everything together. And that total cost of ownership is something that truly needs to be considered. Well, what is an agent if you can't hear them, right? So they're gonna get a survey, right? You've taken these surveys. How was the call quality? Could you understand the agent? Were they able to help you, right? So these agents, they're gonna be measured. They wanna hear, they wanna know that their voice is coming through loud and clear. If it's video, that you can see them well, because they're actually gonna be measured on this. And they're also gonna be measured with the fact that they can access what they need. So whether that's an application they need or some information about your particular purchase or your particular healthcare plan, all of that needs to be at their fingertips. And of course, they need a device to do it on. So I'm not talking about the supply chain issues, which is hard to believe that was like 2021, so it's been like 3-4 years. It kind of feels like yesterday. I don't know if anyone else feels like it's a little bit of a blur. But what happens if like for 2, 3, 4 weeks you can't even get them equipment? So like they're just sitting there like, okay, I'll take some extra training, I'm good, but they don't actually have anything to actually be productive and give your customers the service they desire. And then you gotta help them get set up once they finally have that equipment. So many of the customers that we talk with, 2, 3, even 4 hours to set up each contact center agent. Where's my login? I don't know what to do. How do I start the app? How do I get on a VPN? Like, you have better things to do than sit there 2 or 3 hours. So we really have to be thinking about how can we make this easier? And then you have the simplicity that you want to have because you actually have some other things that you need to do, right? This conference, you're gonna hear a lot about AI. So maybe you need an AI, you're in the process of implementing an AI initiative, or you're migrating your on-prem server to the cloud, or you just need to scale up your operations. So you need to make sure that you have the time and effort to do that. And again, these agents are revenue producing. Cost centers are not or contact agents are not a cost center. They are a revenue source. They are directly tied to the revenue that your company makes. So you need to make sure that they have a device that is in good shape, that you can handle easily and remotely, and that is always available. And if you think about like the IT resources you need, you should really actually feel very secure in your jobs. So according to MIT from a survey at the end of last year, their executives, so 56% of executives that took this survey, their #1 concern was having enough IT quality personnel. Their jobs were going unfulfilled. And you really honestly don't have to worry that much about AI because MIT even just a month ago released that for these IT jobs, only 5% of them will be, potentially go away or will be impacted by 2030. So you guys do a really important service, and let's make sure your customer reps actually can go ahead and do what they need to do for their job. So on top of all of that, then you've got your execs coming in and saying, now we need to make everything sustainable. According to Gartner, 87% of executives will be investing more in sustainability initiatives in the next 2 years. Yet only 30% have actually implemented cost-effective sustainability measures. That is a huge gap. And the end user computing environment tends to use a lot of energy. If you're using a data center, it emits a lot of carbon. So you need to be thinking about how can I change that device? How do I really need to take 60, 80 watts? Do I need all these heavy duty monitors, right? You're just using a lot of energy. And if you have the typical life cycle of a laptop, which is 3 years, what about the e-waste, right? So you really need to be thinking about how you can go ahead and really make a more sustainable future. So that is where the contact center of the future comes in. It's time to rethink the contact center agent desktop. So again, these contact center agents are business critical. They must provide personalized customer service, and they need access to the most data to be able to do that. Yet they are a very high turnover organization. The average for the industry is 30 to 40% of these agents will turn over every year. When you start talking to business process outsourcers, they may turn over all 100% or more of their entire agent staff every year. They're just constantly hiring, which means constantly providing these devices, constantly making sure where is the data and is that data secure. So in fact, I was just talking to some customer this morning, and literally he said the exact same thing that's on this slide. Can I just get out of the hardware business, please? And I hear this just time and again. It's like, why am I doing this? You know, there's better ways to make sure that these agents can be productive. So that's where we have contact center in a box. And it's simple as 1, 2, 3. So let's take a look at the box. The box. You knew there had to be a box, right? Open the box. Within the box is another box. And instead of the laptop, now this is your desktop. 3-inch by 3-inch box. Easy to set up. Simplicity at its heart. You see on the slide a little nice hello diagram. Guess what? These agents are not the most technically savvy, and you're like, oh, anyone can plug in something. Actually, you know what? It's not as easy as you think. So we offer a pictorial guide to say, step 1, step 2. It's that really easy to get set up. And for some reason, if they still say, you know, I'm not quite sure, there's a video link. So they can just watch a video, and it actually shows, like, plug this into this port, and you're good to go. So again, step 1, make it easy to set up. So let's talk about that 3-inch cube that was in my hand. This is WorkSpaces Thin Client. We launched this at reInvent last year, and it really helps you get costs under control. It starts at $195, and from that box, your end users can get going in just a matter of minutes. In fact, I'm gonna kind of show you what that first out-of-box experience looks like. And then you can easily manage it through software that allows you to manage, maintain, and monitor these devices. And of course, what would it be if it didn't link to seamlessly a desktop or applications and data in the cloud? Which brings me to step 2, integrating with the AWS cloud desktops. So we have the Workspace family of services. These are our virtual desktops. So if your agent needs a laptop-like experience where all their settings, configurations, files, everything is stored, they come back to their job the next day and everything is exactly where they left it, we have Workspaces Personal, or our persistent virtual desktop. For those, not everyone needs that, right? You want to start your day fresh. The apps don't, you don't really want any apps or any data sitting around. So for a lot of contact center agents, they only need non-persistence. And we launched in summer WorkSpaces pools. In both of these cases, you can bring your own Microsoft 365 enterprise licenses or your Windows 10 or Windows 11 desktop licenses. So even though you may be using other operating systems like Linux, most contact center agents are using Microsoft. And we allow you to bring those licenses and then configure the storage and compute that you need, because different types of agents need to have access to different levels of resources. Now let's say you've gone completely to the cloud. All your your websites are obviously in the cloud, but all your applications, you've gone all web-based applications. For that, we have WorkSpaces Secure Browser. If you're using WorkSpaces Secure Browser with a thin client, great. Everything is contained. Your browser is completely isolated from all your other infrastructure and resides in the AWS cloud. But let's say you want to stick with the laptop. It's your choice. We can actually just isolate, again, all of those web applications, because web applications are responsible for 25% of data breaches, so you really need to make sure it's secure. And we've made this very simple to set up with Secure Browser. And one of those pain points of like, oh my God, Chrome, like how many patches are going to be in Chrome, and how do I constantly maintain those Chrome patches? Well, you get a new session of Chrome every time the end user logs in. So all of that is fully managed for you. And it starts as low as $7 a month. But again, if you need a lot more resources, we have different options. We have larger sizes so that you can scale up from there. Number 3, what is that application that they're going to use to give the customer service? Well, for us, we have Connect, which is our customer service or contact center as a service solution. So as you can imagine, Amazon has literally 100,000 or more contact center agents. We learned a lot in building this product, and now we make this product available to all of you. In fact, we have over 10,000 customers and handle more than 10 million interactions a day through Amazon Connect. And just like the other products I talked about, simplicity is at its heart. Just a few clicks, you can set up Connect, and it provides omnichannel service. So whether that's voice or video, if it's chat or email, all of that can be easily set up. And if you think about, again, this personalized service that you want your contact center agents to give to your customers, we've integrated with Amazon Q to help provide recommended responses. So think about, right, it's open enrollments right now, it's about to end. Let's say you change the deductible, there's some change in the prescription plan that you offer. You don't want those reps to be giving, the patients or, your customers the wrong information. So that's where AI can actually help. Oh yes, this is the new plan that's available to you this year. And it's not just about the agents, it's about the people managing those agents. There's a lot of data, and they're managing an operation where performance at every second and how many people they service count. So through Contact Lens, we also use AI in Connect to help managers manage the performance of their agents, and even to forecast the demand, like how many agents need to be available at what time, and schedule them as well. So this is a pretty nice, probably nicer than most contact center agent setups. They had a nice decorator, but you get it, right? You got your monitors. Most people work with 2 monitors. You have the thin client, right? So the box sits there. You have your Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, headset webcams. You're ready to go. It's all cabled up. Now let's look at what it's looked like. So once you first plug in, you power on the device, and you're presented with what we call the out-of-box screen. We are in 6 different countries right now, so we support a variety of languages. So they're going to want to see the language that they work in, so they choose their language. They can choose Wi-Fi or Ethernet to connect. A lot of contact center agents, you want them having Ethernet. You also probably saw there the check of the keyboard, right? Different countries, you need to make sure that you're using the right keyboard type. And now what you see is an activation code. So like when you give them the credentials to log in, right, when anyone starts, you also provide this activation code. That is the magic that connects that thin client to your AWS environment and registers the device under your account. Once it's registered, it pulls in all the latest updates since the device was created at the factory. Now, what we do, there's no other login. We boot directly to WorkSpace. The first thing you're going to log into is the WorkSpaces screen. So here you see somebody logging in. Also, if you needed multi-factor authentication, YubiKeys, that is supported as well, even though you don't see it on the video. They've now logged in, and you can see Connect. They've made themselves available to take their first call. Oh, and guess what? That sweater they wanted is out of size. No problem. Create myself a task, get back to this person, have the automation sent them an email when that size and color is back in stock. That's how simple the Connect interface is to use. So you saw it. You hooked it up. You went through the setup, which is a one-time only setup, and the applications are readily available. What was it, 2 minutes, and you're good to go. So now I'd like to turn it over to Rasika, who's going to talk about how we go ahead and meet these challenges with our AWS products.
Thank you, Melissa. So you heard about the challenges and how we are going to, now we are going to start is what we're doing to meet the challenges. Make it secure, cost-effective, simple to set up, easy to manage, and sustainable solution for your contact center agents. So the AWS end-user computing services are built on AWS, which is architected to be the most secure cloud computing environment available today. And when it comes to the desktop and application streaming services, everything happens in the cloud. There's no need to save the data or store the data on the endpoint. Security principle number one. The physical laptops, that's typically the contact centers use, laptops or desktops, pose the security concern, as Melissa was saying. Users can store the data on the device. So when the agent leaves the company and does not return the corporate issued laptops or desktop back, the customer data that may walk away with that. So huge concern with the data exfiltration. The 2024 Voice of CISO report says, of the organizations that face the sensitive data loss, 42% are due to the employee negligence, and 36% is due to the malicious insider. So think about that. You're using the virtual desktops and application streaming services. Your admins are basically setting up the applications, controlling which applications your contact center agents have access to, and what level of data they have access to using the desktops in the cloud. The cube that was shown, it's a log device, doesn't have a local file storage. User cannot download or install any application or files on the device. In a crude sense, it's a dumb terminal that is designed to connect to the virtual desktop. It has a hardware-based authentication as well. When your user activates the device the first time, it establishes the trust. So your user always gets to use a trusted device. So now let's look at what the WorkSpaces Secure Browser has done. WorkSpaces Secure Browser recently launched a web content redaction where admins can choose which data points will be redacted when the contact center agent is working with the customer to close a transaction, for example. You may choose the SSN, tax ID, all sorts of PII data points. Once the policies are implemented, they can choose which website, whether to apply to all web pages visited by the agent or selected domains. Once the policies are in place, let's see now the example within the Connect. So your agent is helping your customer to close a transaction. So obviously, they have access to customers. Customer is giving the zip code, where they live, the phone number, the birth date, probably a credit card number to close the transaction. But when the agent sees the data from the chat window, it's all masked. At this point, agent can copy the masked data and paste it into the backend system to close the transaction. So the system gets the real information, but agent cannot see it. That's the security level of security features we are looking at. The expense. You heard Melissa. I'm just going to reiterate that. Procuring the laptops and desktops, it's not cheap. And I'm not talking about just the equipment cost here. The software licenses for the security softwares and management softwares, that adds up to the per unit cost. And then you multiply that with the hundreds and thousands in your workforce, you just got yourself a hefty bill. Starting at $195, and if you add the dual monitor support hub, $279.99, the hardware is a lot cheaper than the traditional laptop, which is $900 or $1,000, or a desktop, which is $1,200 to $1,500. Using the virtual desktop services, you can scale up or down based on your business needs. So you don't have to procure the infrastructure or pay the upfront cost for the infrastructure. You can rely on, it's supported by Amazon Logistics. So you go to Amazon Business and purchase the hardware and let Amazon ship it directly to your end users where they need it, when they need it. You don't have to procure, let's say 500 agents are joining in months' time. Guess what? Who gets to procure those laptops, provision each and every of that laptop, and then send each of those 500 laptops to the individual end user, your IT team. With Thin Client, you save all that support cost and the logistics cost of the double shipping. Challenge number 3, productivity. It's not simple to onboard on a laptop. You need either IT help or end users need to struggle. If they are remote end users and they have issues with the laptop, the onboarding may take hours, days, or sometimes weeks. Thin Client ships ready to go directly to the end users. All the software updates happen over the air, and within minutes, your customer is ready to take, your agent is ready to take the first customer call. On the virtual desktops, your admin already has the applications readily available that start streaming on the Thin Client easily. Next one. Challenge number 4. I'm still at productivity, actually. We heard a lot of customers saying the typical contact center agent desk looks like the 2 screens. Every agent have the unique setup. So at the beginning of the shift, they place their application windows in a certain way. On the primary monitor, there will be soft phone software to take customer calls. On the secondary monitor, there will be conferencing software to collaborate with the team. And there's a certain way on the certain positions of the applications. We heard. The Thin Client is designed to work across the two screens, very similar to how a local desktop will work across the two screens. You drag and drop the applications, position it, resize it, everything works seamlessly. We basically optimize towards the voice and video workloads on the thin client. So for the voice workloads, we optimize and use the highest performance cores on the hardware, taking full advantage that we have control over the hardware and software with the thin client virtual desktop combination here. We introduced very unique features to the thin client, where a lot of contact centers have bad network. And if your agents are running on the Wi-Fi, there might be packet losses, there might be a dip in your network signal. We notify the end user that there's some network degradation going on, the bandwidth drops and whatnot, so they can proactively or almost proactively or react to it quickly and not hamper their customer calls. Challenge number 4, easy to manage. The desktops and the Amazon WorkSpaces thin client inventory visibility is within the AWS console. So when you activate the thin client and register to your account, you get visibility into the entire inventory of the thin clients. You get to see which thin clients are used, when were they last logged in, which desktop services used on that thin client. The updates are pushed over the air. As an admin, you can see which thin client is running on which software set. You can even remotely reset the thin client if it's no longer in use, so that the next user can take it, set it up again, and get going. Easy to reuse. We also added, so when your agents are working remotely, it's very hard to understand for help desk what's going on their hardware. And when they are adopting to a new hardware, moving away from laptops or desktop that they're used to, we know even a simple, if a keyboard stroke is not working or a mouse is not moving fast enough, that becomes a huge issue. So we added a we made troubleshooting very easy. So on the console, now admins can see for each thin client which peripheral is connected to, which type of keyboard, which type of mouse, headset, webcam, that particular thin client is connected to. What is their connection type? Maybe they are recommended to connect to Ethernet, but the thin client is connected to actually Wi-Fi, and they are having network issues, for example. So it gets help desk easily accessible data that help desk can use to help their users, namely the agents. And it's designed for sustainability. We got verified by Carbon Trust to use the thin client in a typical business use case. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, and it also has a deep sleep mode, where if the thin client is not in use for hours, it goes into deep power sleep, so to save the consumption of power. At Amazon, we take sustainability very seriously. Amazon pledged to use 100% renewable energy by 2023 in all its operations, including data centers, and we achieved the goal 7 years ahead of time. Now we are on our way to be net zero carbon emission by 2040 as part of our climate pledge. Now it's a good segue to go into more customer stories and learn how our customers are using our services. So back to Melissa.
Thanks, Rasika. So it's good to talk about it, but let's talk about how it's actually in use. So it's kind of interesting time of year, holidays, doing some holiday shopping. Maybe you are buying your loved ones a cruise. Well, those contact center agents at NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, they're really busy. This is a very large cruise company with 32 ships that sail around the world. And in the US alone, they have over 2,000 contact center agents to make sure you get just the right trip. I'm thinking right now, like, oh, that sounds pretty good. But the reality is they needed to make sure that they had data at their fingertips and they had a cost or budget initiative. They said, we can't keep giving these laptops. They are too expensive. And so we worked with the CIO of Norwegian Cruise Lines, but he's not only the CIO, he's also the CISO. And what do you think he cared about? He cared about security. So how did this testing go, right? Because you're not just going to say, hey, oh, let me just throw this out to my contact center agents and create a new desktop solution for them overnight. No, you are going to take a measured approach. So they had people of their IT team involved, and they did the first round of testing, and they tested it with the peripherals, and they tested it with the virtual desktop. They happened to use Amazon WorkSpaces Personal. Then they went through security testing, right? Got to make sure the data is secure, that it handles all the security practices, that meets the CISO standards. And then they rolled it out to the first set of contact center agents. Because we said, right, those contact center agents have to be productive, has to be a good experience. So once those first set, this can work. I can make this work. This works good for me. Then they rolled it out to a broader set of agents. And at that point, they're like, okay, this is going to be what our contact center of the future looks like. We're able to save 75% of the endpoint costs. We're able to manage this hybrid workforce much more simply. And I don't have to worry when someone is not in the corporate office and not on the NCL corporate network that it's going to be insecure because it did pass all of the security tests. But Norwegian Cruise Line is not the only customer who's been working with us on these solutions. So I mentioned open enrollment. So Sidecar Health is an insurance company. They administer and offer healthcare plans. Same thing too, how do I create a more secure environment and do it in a low cost way? And so they've gone through these series of UAT or user acceptance testing, which now they're starting to roll out to their contact center agents. So then to kind of wrap this all up, you need to be thinking about how you're going to reduce the end user cost, that contact center agent cost. And it's not just the device. It's the logistics, it's the software, it's the management even of the desktop and of the data center. You want to centralize that management so everything you need to do is over the air and you can see all of your inventory and manage it from all one place. You want to accelerate time to productivity. So instead of taking days or weeks or even hours, it literally takes minutes for a contact center agent to get started, and they can do it with good voice, audio, and video quality. And you want to make sure that it is secure, that data is not resident on the device, that you can't just go ahead and transfer files to some removable drive. And you want to do it in a way that is sustainable. So a desktop that maybe has now one monitor instead of two because you can use ultra-wide monitors. And in a device that uses much less power. Like the thin client uses 6 watts. It's like a tenth of what a typical laptop would use. So if you actually want to come see this, and I hope all of you do, you can see it in the end user computing booth in the AWS Expo. It is also at the Connect booth. We are happy to go take you through that. We have people there who can kind of walk you through the whole device. You can come take it, feel it, and we will also stay for a few minutes and answer questions. Now, If you didn't get to see some of the great content we have on end user computing yesterday and this morning, we are offering several repeat sessions. So if you want to go ahead and take a picture of the QR code, you can find out when those next sessions will be available to you. You also can find out more about WorkSpaces Thin Client at the QR code on your screen, or even download the Gartner report. So in Gartner's latest Magic Quadrant for desktop as a service, Amazon end user computing is in the leader quadrant. We were recognized for being highly operational, available across the world, and creating an end-to-end solution, right? Because you got the virtual desktop and the hardware. It just makes it so much simpler to manage. So please feel free to download that report. So on behalf of Rasika and I, thank you for your time today. And before you leave, please do not forget to fill out the survey. And again, we'll stay around for the next 15 minutes or so to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.